describe India at the moment, India of the moment? Because it really is two words that appear in the foreword to the book, deadlock and complacency. You can add corruption, profligacy, what have you. What made you think that India could be reimagined?
We thought that, in a sense, things were stuck in a rut in terms of how people were looking at India. There was mounting frustration about India's potential and whether it would ever reach there. On the other hand, we also saw that there were underlying strengths and underlying the opportunities were fantastic. And when you look at the development of a country and you look at the development of improving the lives of 1 billion people, forget about the GDP, but improving the lives of 1 billion plus people, the potential was still there. And that, developing that kind of potential takes time. You can't just do that in a quarter, in a year, in a 5-year period. But over a 10, 15-year period, you can actually change many things. So we were so when you looked at the underlying potential, many of those opportunities were still there. There were obviously many roadblocks. And so we wanted to see if we could get 65 minds focusing on the problem of how to solve some of those roadblocks so that we could achieve the potential. By the way, the book, when you read it, is neither India shining, nor is it India depressing.
Yes.
It is, I think it's a very realistic portrait, and 65 people have different views on it. Some are very pessimistic, some are very optimistic, but all have ideas on how we can accelerate to get to that potential.
Anand, if I can come to you, the book says unlocking the potential of Asia's next superpower. How would you define a superpower, or what would you desire India to grow into?
First of all, Senthil, let me take a moment to compliment Adil and his team for the title of the book. It's reimagining India. It's not India's next 5-year plan and what it should be. It's not what GDP, what power should we be. It's a very soft title, apparently, reimagining India. And I think for a country which is so obsessed with films, Bollywood and dreams, when it comes to the real world of business and politics, we somehow suddenly forget about the power of dreams to make ordinary people do extraordinary things. So I had fun doing this article because it really gave you a wide canvas. And when you reimagine what a power should be, that's when you realize that we are not China. And we should not be defining our objectives in terms of the conventional metrics or boundaries of power, whether they be military power or economic power. And so, I'll be honest, I work in business, so I have to, in a sense, transport what I do to this realm as well. And very recently, we had an exercise to redefine the core purpose of our group. And I was astonished to find that when we co-created it with our people, I thought they would say something like, we want to be a $50 billion corporation by 2020, or we want to be the largest company in the world, or something like that. And they came out saying, we want to be the most admired, one of the most admired brands in the world. And so when I was talking about this essay, I thought to myself, what if you said, we want to be one of the most admired and respected countries in the world? Very simple, and you say, what the hell does that mean? It means nothing. But when you start distilling that down and letting it dictate the actions, policy actions of a government, it's astonishing how specific it can get. Because when you look at China, it's going to get military force. Will it be admired? Will it be respected? Yes. But it will be feared. It will be suspected. America, the world has a love-hate relationship with America. It is confused about what it should think about America because of its often expansionist and interventionist policies. So when you start looking at that, you have a very, very good prescription for what our foreign policy should be. Will we be more about defense and about defending others as opposed to being offensive? It goes into your economics. You will have to have growth with inclusion if you want to be admired. And I could go on endlessly, but when you put a very simple thing out there and say that's the opportunity that India has, and in a sense it's going back to the future. I suspect that when Nehru got into the whole non-aligned movement kind of label, that's what he wanted to do. But somehow that went horribly wrong, as you know, given who we were aligning with. But I think India has a chance to create a completely new template for what a country should be. And that's where I think I started in my essay about Why do you look at economics differently? And I won't go into that anymore. I'll end here. But to me, this was the exciting part of this exercise. And real opportunity to reimagine the core purpose of this country.
Mr. Ambani, I think just taking off from there, because he says you've got to have growth and inclusion. You write about meeting the aspirations of the 700 to 800 million people who remain on the fringes of India's success story. How patient will those people be? Because while we talk about we have 10 years, we have 20 years, we have 30 years, how patient will those 700, 800 million people be? Because they've been remarkably patient so far. So are we running out of time?
My sense is that they're already impatient. Right? The aspirations of our youth is phenomenal today. And the youth is India's strength. So if you think about all the noise in our system, to my mind, it's really making us more aware of their aspirations, of their expectations, and of our collective ability to meet the aspirations of them. And I think that it is really the youth. India is a young country, and it is the youth that is going to drive. And continuing from what Anand said, right, when we think about reimagination, reimagination is not doing more of the same. It's trying to find a new way, a way that when I grew up, when I was 20 or 30 years old, like the same issues existed, but we were a lot more tolerant. Today, right, the youth will demand results out of society as a whole. I am one who generally believes that it is not government's jobs to do everything, right? For a reimagined India to move on, we need a coalition of everybody in society. We need to have a positive mindset, and positivity, right, is very important. Today, I think that we are aware of all the issues much more than ever before, and this awareness will stem us into action. And my optimism really comes in from that particular action. So I think that, you know, what all the stuff that you started off with, to my mind, it's still a speed bump. Okay. Right? I don't see anything fundamentally wrong. Right? All the very fact that we are able to discuss our problems, the very fact that we are able, there are not many countries, right, where we can in public express our views freely, have expressed different points of view, and make sure that we understand each other. To my mind, that itself is a good sign that we will accelerate the solution going forward. So whatever we are seeing, and as Adil said, the country is 3 years in, I mean, remember the times in 2005, 6, 7, yeah? 3, 4, 5 years is a very short time in a life of a country. And when we talk of a reimagined India, it is really the youth that is going to drive this to their aspirations. And believe me, they're not going to be sitting on the fringes for a long time.
So the youth